Alli's future could lie in Madrid. Liverpool finally agreed Thiago deal. Neymar starts his suspension. A transfer roundup and today's Thursday favourites all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Frodick, you are the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. So first off, yes, of course, the breaking news of the week is Gareth Bale moving to Tottenham along with Sergio Reguilon, and those deals are very close to being done. However, in return, it could see midfielder Dele Alli move to Real Madrid. Now, again, at the minute, this is not so much a certainty, but more of a rumour, and I'm not even sure whether it's got anything to do with the Gareth Bale deal instead. All we know is the clubs will be in talks over the next few days, so anything is possible. Honestly, Alli moving to Real Madrid is not such a bad idea. Now, I said a few days ago, he's the one who's the big winner, because he's not necessarily Real Madrid standard, and he's not doing so well at Spurs. But if you think that Gareth Bale's coming in, and that leaves a front three for Spurs, I'm not sure how much game time Dele Alli is going to get. Like, Gareth Bale's not replacing Alli because, you know, he doesn't play on the right-hand side. But I just think with a front three, like Son, Kane and Bale, Spurs are more likely to go with a bit more of a solid midfield three. And especially if they go a little bit more defensive, and it means that Dele Alli has to do a lot of defensive work, that's not really what he's good at, and he really shouldn't be in the Tottenham team. If they do go defensive like Mourinho likes to do and then spring on the counter-attack with a three quick forwards, then it really doesn't leave room for Dele Alli anyway. I mean, if he goes to Real Madrid, yeah, he probably won't play as much as he will at Spurs, but it'll be maybe a good break for him and he'll come back to North London next summer. Who knows? Potentially a new player. Of course, this all does depend on the Gareth Bale deal because we don't quite know yet whether it's a permanent or a loan transfer. If it's just a one-year loan, the Alli deal makes way more sense because you're just swapping for a year. If it's a permanent deal for Bale, then I'm not so sure, but who knows? Anyway, ahead of tonight's Europa League qualifier for Spurs against Plovdiv, Dele Alli has been left out of the squad, although maybe we're reading into that a little bit too much and he's just been left at home because it's not the strongest opponent. Next up then, and to one of the longest running transfer sagas of the summer, and finally for Liverpool fans, Liverpool have agreed a deal with Bayern Munich for the transfer of Thiago. There was so much speculation that he was going to leave the club, that Manchester United were going to hijack the move, that Thiago never said he was leaving, that he just rejected a contract and Bayern Munich's his home and this and that. Finally, the deal has been agreed. Around 30 million euros is the price for the treble winner to move to Anfield. And honestly, it's not only a fantastic signing for Liverpool, it's a brilliant move for Thiago as well. But finally, it could kick off this ridiculous chain of events which could see another 3 transfers off the back of it. So, Thiago moves from Bayern Munich to Liverpool. Liverpool then have the perfect replacement for Gini Wijnaldum, who could move to Barcelona. This frees up a space in their squad because Arturo Vidal is going to join Inter Milan. Once Vidal goes to Inter Milan, they can then sell Marcelo Brozovic to, you guessed it, Bayern Munich. It's crazy how these things work. It's just the circle of life in football. So, as we mentioned, not only a big deal for Liverpool and Thiago, but potentially this has a massive impact on the rest of the transfer market. But next up, and to PSG, where their nightmare start to the season hasn't continued, but they barely scraped past Metz. They scored a 93rd minute winner courtesy of Julian Draxler, meaning that they have now set a record for the most amount of time passed from winning a league to then scoring their next goal. This would have been 3 matches without scoring, and it means that they've got 3 points in their first 9 available this season. But they had to do it all without Neymar because he has been suspended. Yesterday, he and the 4 others who were sent off in that mass brawl against Marseille all found out their punishment. Neymar's been banned for 2 games, the first of those which was last night. Levan Kurzawa, his teammate's been banned for 6, which is outrageous. Leandro Paredes has been banned for 2 games. Then from Marseille, Jordan Marvi's got a 3-game ban and Benedetto's got a 1-match ban. Honestly, I've no idea how they figure this out. Surely if 5 people are involved in the same brawl, how do you get, sort of different levels of brawling from 1-match ban to whatever it was, 6-match ban? How does this happen? I mean, yeah, I know they were all involved in different acts of fighting, but is there somewhere in the rules that's like punch to the back of the head 1 game, punch to the face 2 game, kick 3 games, spitting 4 game? I have no idea how they've managed to distinguish between all of these. Anyway, what this means is that Neymar will be missing for at least 1 more game, and there were also reports that Di Maria was caught spitting on camera at the Marseille player at the weekend, so it could get even worse. Could we finally have the season where PSG don't completely and utterly destroy Liga? Who knows, maybe Marseille could be the victors this time around. Let me know your predictions actually in the comments section, who you think is going to win Liga this season. Next up then, a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news. Everton boss Carlo Ancelotti wants Chelsea's Fikayo Tomori on loan this season. Tottenham defender Danny Rose is closing in on a swap to Italian side Genoa. Arsenal interested in Icelandic keeper Runar Alex Runarsson. And finally, Borja Valero has returned to former club Fiorentina. Finally then, we come to this week's Thursday favourites. This is where you guys ask me some of my favourite things in football. 5, in fact, of my favourites. And talking of Borja Valero, talking of Gareth Bale returning to Spurs, an aptly timed comment from Ferdy17 has said, Matt, who are your 5 favourite players who have returned to their former club? Now, I've tried to stay away from being completely biased here with those of Tottenham players, so here are my 5. First off, Claudio Pizarro. The guy could just not stay away from Werder Bremen. In fact, he played for the club 4 times throughout his career, meaning he made a return to Bremen no less than 3 times. Outstanding. Next up is Jermaine Defoe, with a little bit of Robbie Keane in there as well, but mainly Defoe. He left Spurs for Portsmouth and 1 year later was back at White Hart Lane after a nightmare year saw them lose 3 strikers. It was January 2008, Defoe left. Then the summer 2008, both Dimitar Berbatov and Robbie Keane left, and then by the January of 2009, both Defoe and Keane were back at White Hart Lane. Third one, and it's Mats Hummels, and someone who's actually completed the double-double. He was at Bayern, went to Dortmund, then back to Bayern, then back to Dortmund. I wonder if he knows that there are more than just 2 teams in world football. Anyway, what I like about this is that after all the time of Bayern Munich getting free deals from Dortmund and loads of other clubs in Germany, it's kind of nice that Dortmund got one over on Bayern for once with the free signing of Mats Hummels. Second, and Didier Drogba. Now, yeah, that's obviously quite tough for me to say because he's a Chelsea legend, but he left the club after scoring the winning penalty in the Champions League final. Legendary. You'd thought you don't want to go back and shit the bed, do you? Well, he did. A few years later, Mourinho was back. He was getting the old gang back together. Drogba came back for one more season and lifted yet another Premier League title. And number 1, Fernando Torres. There seems to be something romantic about Atletico Madrid and former strikers, and Torres, who left for Liverpool in 2007, was back at the club under Diego Simeone in 2015. It really was, you know, a good return to kind of have a good end to his career after he became a bit of a meme after that failed move to Chelsea, despite the fact he did score the goal which sent them through to the Champions League final that we mentioned before when Didier Drogba scored the winning penalty. So there you have it, my 5 favourite players who have returned to their former club. But you guys let me know yours in the comment section below and your thoughts on the rest of today's daily news. Whilst you're at it, you can also smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.